And an investigating officer in the Thabo Bester escape saga tells the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court that former G4S CCTV installer and accused number 3, Teboho Lipholo, called police to confess about his role and that of another staff member in the infamous jailbreak. Earlier, we spoke to Chriselda Lewis, SABC News senior reporter, about this shocking revelation.
An investigating officer who was the first to take the stand in the state's bid to oppose bail for the 5 accused who remained in the dock after Dr. Nandipha Makutumana, you'd recall, earlier this morning abandoned her bail bid. The investigating officer says that CCTV installer Teboho Lipholo who was taking care of the cameras at the Mangaung prison, where those prison doors are operated electronically, had basically made a call to police. He wanted to speak to them personally, and after calling police, he said he wanted to meet with an officer that can be trusted, as he was scared. He then met with police at a local mall not too far from here, and according to that investigating officer, explained what transpired and laid out his alleged role in the escape and that of other staff at the prison. He also told officers, according to the investigating officer, that he feared for his life. So now why this is important is because you would also remember that it's the state's case that Lipholo was allegedly offered 2.5 million rand, but was paid 40,000 rand for alleged assistance in disconnecting the cameras, hence alleged facilitation of the escape. Bongiwe.
And Chriselda, this is not, the only surprising, thing to emerge from that court today. A lot of talk on social media about, what some are calling the face beat, and I'm putting it in inverted commas when it comes to the makeup by Dr. Nandipha Makutumana. But interestingly enough, her bail application not going ahead. Let's talk about the significance of that.
Well, that's right, Bongiwe. Before I get to that, you'd also remember that one of the critical aspects that also transpired in court in the state's bid to oppose bail for the accused, also of interest, is accused number 1, Sinohe Matsware, who you'd recall was the security supervisor we heard in court at the prison. Now, interestingly, he travels between Lesotho and South Africa 16 times between October and November 2022. This is like 4 months after the escape of Thabo Bester from the prison. And prior to those dates, we heard from the investigating officer that he had not traveled to that country. Absolutely, Bongiwe, on social media, many people have been asking about what is referred to as a face beat that Dr. Nandipha Makutumana has, why her nails look so well manicured, if that's the correct word to use. I did have a good chat with the Department of Correctional Services about that, given that there's been so much interest about why she looked so, if I may, polished, yet she is currently at the Kroonstad prison. What the Department of Correctional Services says is that the public needs to understand or take into account that there are prisons, including the Kroonstad prison, that have hair salons. Now, these hair salons, Bongiwe and Iman, are hair salons that would be used to equip women while they are incarcerated with skills that would possibly, I would say in this instance, equip them to open up a hair salon once they get out of prison, to ensure that they do have some kind of skill. So this is not the first that we've heard of prisons having hair salons. In a conversation that I had earlier had with the Correctional Services spokesperson, I understand that there are some men's prisons that might also have facilities where you could cut your hair. I stand to be corrected there. But definitely on the issue of Kroonstad, where Dr. Nandipha Makutumana currently is, there are hair salons there, not only for her, but for other inmates and also those who've not yet been sentenced as well, where they are able to learn skills. So I don't know who's doing her hair, I don't know who's doing her nails, but there are facilities there to so-called equip, inmates, with the necessary skills should they come out of prison. They would have something of substance with them so that they're able to carry on with their lives. And indeed, that bail application of Dr. Nandi Pamakutumana we were expecting to get underway today, but you would recall, I did mention on our sister program, The Agenda, very earlier on this morning that two sources had informed me that Dr. Nandi Pamakutumana's bail application would not be going ahead. Indeed, that was confirmed by her lawyers inside the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court. And they basically said there's some new information which they now have to dissect, which means they're not ready to proceed with the bail application for Dr. Nandi Pamakutumana, and they've now said she will return to this court on the 16th of May. Now recall, the 16th of May is quite an important date because Thabo Bester is back inside this court on the 16th of May, and so is Dr. Nandi Pamakutumana's father, Cornelius Sekeleni, Zolile Cornelius Sekeleni, who you'd recall was granted bail during his last appearance of 10,000 rand. So it'll be Dr. Nandi Pamakutumana, Thabo Bester, as well as her father, Zolile Cornelius Sekeleni. So what we are trying to establish at this point, just before you let me go Bongiwe, is that we're not sure at this stage whether Thabo Bester will be appearing at this court in person. I did get wind of the fact that there were some requests that had been made that he appear virtually at the court proceedings on the 16th of May. And I understand that this court might not have the necessary equipment to be able to carry that out. So that part is not yet confirmed, but I do understand there had been talk of trying to facilitate a virtual appearance, also due to security concerns, because you must remember, this is the Facebook rapist who's been convicted of rape and murder, and in this instance, having to transport him from Gagose Mampuru in Pretoria, that's the correctional facility, to Bloemfontein continuously might add to the risk, given that you would recall he fled South Africa to Tanzania, where he was then recaptured with his girlfriend, Dr. Nandi Pamakutumana. So we'll probably hear from correctional services in the next couple of days about whether he will appear virtually or not. But as it stands, we know that Dr. Nandi Pamakutumana, Thabo Bester, as well as her father, Zolile Cornelius Sekeleni, will be back in this court on the 16th of May.